The question of what exactly is in the Epstein files and why Donald Trump won't release them isn't going away, no matter how desperately he tries to change the subject. It's been a seesaw affair from the start, with Trump promising to release all the Epstein files during his 2024 presidential campaign if reelected. But very little has been released since victory, and certainly nothing new. Then in May, the Wall Street Journal reported that Attorney General Pam Bondi briefed President Trump that his name appeared in the Epstein files several times, though being mentioned in the Epstein files is not a sign of wrongdoing. But in an explosive claim in June, as the bromance of the world's most powerful man and the world's wealthiest man soured, Elon Musk posted on X, "Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT." He later deleted the post and said some of his comments went a little too far, but it's not going away. This month, top officials at the U.S. Justice Department dismissed releasing more documents concerning Epstein, saying it could harm victims and insisting there was not a, quote, client list. However, on July 17th, Trump posted on Truth Social, quote, "Based on the ridiculous amount of publicity around Epstein, I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. This scam perpetrated by the Democrats should end right now." And just this Wednesday, a judge in Florida denied the Justice Department's request to release the transcripts because of the secrecy of grand jury proceedings. Meanwhile, the House Oversight Committee has voted to subpoena the Justice Department for the Epstein files. Joining us now to break it all down is Jake LaHutte, senior writer for Wired, and Philip Bump, former national columnist for the Washington Post. So thanks for being with us. It's not like we don't have anything juicy to discuss. I guess I'm going to start with you, Philip.
Sure.
Where is this going? Where do you see this heading in this dead month, the slowest month for news around the world, and especially in Washington, August, and there's a big Epstein-sized hole to fill now?
Sure. Well, I mean, where Trump is going is Scotland to play golf, so good for him. But, you know, where the whole conversation is going, the fascinating thing about it is that Donald Trump has been stoking it, right? Like, he keeps making moves which are causing it to be in the, oh, release the grand jury thing. Okay, well, now there's a legal fight that, of course, is going to go badly. And, of course, there's going to be analysis showing that that's the one thing you can do to try and keep everything hidden. Like, the fact that he hasn't figured out how to just let this lay, part of it is that he's constitutionally incapable of not having the spotlight on him. And so part of him is like, well, they're talking about me, right?
Well, and it's killing him right now, too.
Right.
He just had an insane Truth Social post that basically is saying that Democrats broke the law during the election and people like Beyonce need to be arrested and prosecuted.
Right. This from a guy who.
So that does that seem like a little bit of a stretch to anyone here, Beyonce? I mean,
well, you know, the thing is, he has actually made a promise of going after his perceived cultural and political enemies. So in that sense, it is something interesting to pay attention to. It does feel, though, like it's just one more thing on a list of things he's tried to throw out there, like to distract as best as he possibly can. The Obama treason thing being the biggest one of the past week. But even that, his base doesn't really seem to be into it. Jake, I mean, what do you make of that? Are you surprised at the extent to which his core audience refuses to let this thing go and to buy the distractions that he's thrown their way?
No, not at all. I mean, the expectations have just been set way too high and stoked for way too long. Also, I do want to add one Philip said here. I mean, yes, it's always been a central tenet of Trump's personality that he really can't let himself not be the center of attention. However, in my spare time, I like to watch the 2016 presidential debates. And I recommend that some of your viewers
That's how you spend your weekends before you come here to our show.
I'm real fun to hang out at the parties. But he does not have that kind of verve and ability to tear someone apart. I think the Jerome Powell clip is a great example of that, where he was caught a little flat-footed. I mean, I had to think about the moments with Jeb Bush when he was like, Jeb Bush was like, hey, don't talk about my mother on stage. And Trump was like, maybe she should be running instead. He doesn't have that juice anymore. And I think that just like we saw that Joe Biden wasn't the Joe Biden we saw in those debates, nor is Donald Trump any longer. And the people around him are just trying to keep this above water right now.
You have the Elon Trump breakup. And it happened, and everyone said a lot of tech bros were like, they're going to get back together. You saw a lot of really thirsty tweets that were like, Elon didn't mean it. He deleted it. You know, all-in bros was just delicious watching them try desperately to get Trump to love Elon again. There's billions of dollars at stake here.
Yes, absolutely. And crucially, billions of dollars. Well, I'd say the high tens of millions for J.D. Vance in terms of his position in the 2028 presidential primary. But, you know, in my recent newsletter this week, I wrote about the difference between the kind of like upper tier billionaires like a Peter Thiel, you know, a Larry Ellison. They're playing the long game. They're playing a lot of moves. And, of course, Larry Ellison's son, who no one can remember his name because he will always be known as Larry Ellison's son for Paramount. Like, that's clearly effective for them. There are things going on the AI landscape that are effective for them. But there are these other little fissures and splits popping up on other kind of subsectors of that economy.
Billionaires.
Yeah. And I was talking to these Republican strategists who are basically saying, like, they're trying to make this pitch to the Silicon Valley, you know, donor wing of the party to say, look, like, we know that from your kind of venture capital disruption mindset, these may not look like very safe bets on the midterms, but like, be a team player, spread it far and wide, give to Mike Johnson's PAC, which, by the way, Peter Thiel did. And I don't think that this is going to be holding up as, you know, swimmingly as they had thought coming into, you know, at least January this year.
But this is such a very interesting conversation from a perspective of legacy, because Donald Trump is someone who, he won a presidential election. He lost a presidential election. He got indicted, and then he got, you know, he's been impeached. He's been up, he's been down. We've watched this, so on and so forth. So what is the ultimate impact of this conversation if it doesn't result in some massive sort of trial and conviction or discovery, if it kind of sort of ends up being another nothing burger, as other things have been described? What is the end result that this has on his legacy, or does it register at all?
I mean, I think that there are all sorts of conspiracy theories which have existed and faded, right? This one is different in part because Donald Trump controls the ability to resolve it to some extent, to the extent it can be resolved, and because he's intimately tied to Epstein, right?
The ongoing controversy surrounding the Jeffrey Epstein files and former President Donald Trump's reluctance to release them continues to dominate headlines, raising questions about transparency, political motives, and Trump's legacy. Despite campaign promises in 2024 to make the Epstein documents public if re-elected, little progress has been made since his victory, fueling speculation and public frustration. The issue has sparked intense debate, with new developments keeping the story alive in a typically slow news cycle. In May, reports surfaced that Attorney General Pam Bondi briefed Trump that his name appeared multiple times in the Epstein files. While being mentioned does not imply wrongdoing, the revelation intensified scrutiny. The situation escalated in June when Elon Musk, amid a strained relationship with Trump, posted on X, alleging that Trump's presence in the files was the real reason for the delay in their release. Musk later deleted the post, admitting it went too far, but the claim reignited public interest. The U.S. Justice Department, however, dismissed calls to release more documents in July, citing potential harm to victims and denying the existence of a client list. On July 17, Trump responded on Truth Social, directing Bondi to produce grand jury testimony, pending court approval, and framing the issue as a scam by Democrats. Yet, a Florida judge rejected the Justice Department's request to release the transcripts, citing grand jury secrecy, further stalling progress. The House Oversight Committee has since voted to subpoena the Justice Department for the Epstein files, signaling ongoing political pressure. Analysts suggest Trump's actions, including his public statements and legal maneuvers, are keeping the controversy in the spotlight, contrary to what might have allowed it to fade. Philip Bump, a former national columnist, noted that Trump's inability to avoid attention may be exacerbating the issue. By repeatedly addressing the files and making provocative claims, such as accusing Democrats of election-related crimes and targeting figures like Beyonce, Trump appears to be struggling to shift focus from the Epstein matter. The controversy has also strained Trump's relationship with key supporters, including tech moguls and younger, less traditional conservative voters. Jake Lutz, a senior writer, highlighted that Trump's base, particularly younger men drawn to him through figures like Joe Rogan, may feel misled. Rogan himself expressed skepticism about claims that no incriminating evidence exists, suggesting a growing distrust among some supporters. These voters, often anti-establishment and socially liberal, were not traditional MAGA supporters but were attracted to Trump's outsider persona. Their disillusionment could impact turnout in future elections, particularly the 2028 midterms, as enthusiasm wanes. The Epstein Files saga also underscores broader tensions within Trump's coalition, including fissures with billionaire backers like Peter Thiel and Larry Ellison, who are navigating their own long-term strategies. Republican strategists are reportedly urging Silicon Valley donors to remain supportive despite the uncertainty surrounding Trump's legal and political battles. The ongoing focus on the Epstein Files risks further eroding trust among his base, with some analysts suggesting a before and after moment in how Trump's legacy is perceived. As the controversy persists, questions remain about whether the files will ever be fully disclosed and what impact their contents, or continued secrecy, will have on Trump's political standing. For now, the issue remains a lightning rod, with Trump's actions ensuring it stays in the public eye, potentially at the cost of alienating key supporters and complicating his legacy as a polarizing figure in American politics.